Going live. Sometimes it takes forever. Sometimes it happens in 5 seconds. We're live. All right. Welcome to Worldwide Slot Car Chat on Zoom number 175. I'm your host, Greg Gabb. The gang's all here with Don and Krista and Jim and Courtney and Garth and Jeremy and Mike and Alan and other people. Let's talk slot cars. Does anybody have anything they'd like to show and tell to get the party on the go and get the party started? Garth has something he wants to share. If anybody else wants to share, be sure to raise your virtual hand so that I remember to call on you, and we'll get to you. Go ahead, Garth.
Okay, I got a bunch of stuff. Stuff I've been working on. You guys can hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay. Let's see if I can go with the share. See that good?
Yep.
Okay. This is a bunch of 3D printed stuff I've been working on. I've been working on some guides for different versions for some slot.it type things. This is the first one, or what I call Model 1. And it's kind of it's a snap-in guide. It's modeled after a slot.it and a scale auto and this and a that and another, just stole ideas from everybody and stuck them into one nylon version. Okay, there's a top view of it. That's what it looks like from the top. Here's the second version of that. This one has got vents or lightning slots in it. Okay, this is the one. I actually got one of these, and it works pretty damn good. That's what it looks like from the top. So that's Model 1 and Model 1V, I call it. This is Model 2, which is the same guide, only it's got a screw base post that is designed specifically for a slot.it chassis. It's the exact right height for a slot.it chassis. If you look at the height of it, it'll fit right in with a washer and screw, a 2mm screw. Okay, so that's Model 2. This is Model 2V, same with the vented slotted blade in it. Okay, that's a top version of that. And next one is Model 3, which is exactly the same blade, same base, but it's got a tall screw in post that is designed to be cut off to whatever size that you want to use it for. Also for this, we have the same vented or lightened slots in the edge of the blade. Okay. Next one is this one. I've already got these, and Mike Mauer's got some of these. This is a 3D printed SLS nylon short can to long can adapter. Allows you to use a short can and a long can pod, either an angle winder or an inline. That's what it looks like from the underneath, and
nice.
Works pretty good. I got it in a couple of cars, and Jeremy has got a resin printed one that he put in one of his cars. Here is the next item, which is my attempt at a Sidewinder style slot.it nylon printed guide. Okay, and that's
Motor pod, right?
Motor pod, yes. Okay. Motor pod. And this one was my first version of it. And then I was talking to Mike Mauer one day about it, and he said, hey, I should make that back wall higher. So that's basically what I did, is I put the back wall. So this is version 2. This is the back wall. I also got
designed Is that designed for single flanged bushings or bearings or something? Or
This is designed for the Professor motor, single flanged bearing.
So it's a 3/16 hole and
Yes.
Yeah.
3/16 hole with a,
they're pushing a bearing or anybody, most people's bushings will just go straight into that.
yeah, I just recently got my first versions of this, and so I used the Professor motor oilite bushing, and I pressed them in, and then just to be safe, I used a little under the flange, I used a little high strength epoxy. Okay. And I have some photos of this as we go along through here. So that's, and I had some issues with this. It actually worked, but I have some little changes that I'm going to make to it as time goes by. And but I'm pretty happy with the first version of it. Okay, these are all these next series of CAD files are all ones that Jeremy and I have been working on. He's been doing all the prototyping and printing in resin. Okay, and this is a 962 wheel insert. Okay, that fits into a 15.8 aluminum wheel. And Jeremy's already printed this. Here's a same thing, a 962. This one is a 6-spoke mag version. Again, an insert and a resin printed insert. This one is one we're working on. We haven't perfected this guy yet because we're having trouble with the turbo fans on this thing. We keep goofing around with it, and but it shows great promise. Okay, and basically it's again a 962 insert. Okay, that Jeremy can talk about that a little bit later. Here's the fourth version of the insert, and this is just a mag wheel. And a little later on, I'll show some versions of this that I did for Mike Mauer's cars that are full nylon wheel. Okay, that's the this one's just an insert. And Jeremy's also printed that. This is the mag wheel number 2. It's the same outside diameter, just a little bit different on the spokes and stuff. Okay. This one has not been printed yet, but I have no reason to think that it's not going to work. Okay, here's a photo of the guides that I just showed you. Okay. And on the left, we have the tall posted guide. Okay. This one is the vented or lightened version with the slots in it. Okay, and on the right,
you go all the way through. They're not just indents.
Yes, they're the idea is the opposite of adding weight into it, kind of idea.
Yep.
And I've got these guides, obviously. Okay, and I've got a car that's running on the snap-in one, and it's very, very happy with it. And Jeremy, again, I have to give credit to Jeremy. Jeremy helped me with this, doing all the prototype work and the first versions of it in resin, and perfected the weight on the posts and the diameter of the posts and the way the posts stick into the car. Okay, and also as a little side light, two of the left and one on the right are on the way in the mail to Greg Gow, and he's gonna test them and check it out and see what he thinks.
Okay.
and also Mike Mauer's got the same package coming to him. Both of them are in the mail. Two cutoff guides and one snap-in guide.
I'll use them in my 3D printed Wickenhouse cars that I'm setting up an IROC set for.
Just use them whatever way, and I want to know a good, bad, or ugly, or whatever.
I need guys for those cards, so perfect.
And so you're going to be the West Coast guinea pigs, you and Mike. Okay. And I sent a snap-in just for laughs, even though I'm the only guy in the universe that actually likes snap-in guides. So
I'll use it.
Okay, there's another shot of it from the front. Okay, and like I said, I got this in a Ferrari slot that at Ferrari F40 right now. I'll show you that in a little bit here.
The first thing I would be trying to do.
Excuse me?
I was going to say the first thing I would be trying to do is see how much tungsten putty I could fit into those air gaps that are in the guide.
There's some things that go unsaid, Dennis.
Dennis, you read my mind.
These are, by the way, these are SLS nylon, polished and dyed black. That's kind of the way that they came.
What's the diameter of the post?
The slot.it diameter fits in a
3.7.
I don't even know what it is. It's we goofed around with it, me and Jeremy, and these are the first versions in printed nylon, and they fit every slot.it chassis I got beautifully, or at least I think they fit beautifully. Yeah. So we worked on that a lot, and it is something that could change in the models fairly easily. Okay, this is a slot.it Lancia chassis that it's sticking in. Okay,
what's the length across the longest part of the blade at the bottom of the blade?
It's very similar to the front part of it is just slightly longer than the Scale Auto red guide that has that plow in the front, and the back part is the back dimension of a double-sided slot.it blade. Okay, so the entire width from front to back is very similar to a slot.it blade.
It's just the reason that I ask is that there are places where there are rules about that say a particular size, like 25 millimeters or 27 millimeters. Well, I was just wondering if you knew exactly what this one is.
I do, but I not offhand. I can tell you. But again, Dennis, this is my print. So I mean, we can. I mean, I could change that and get them printed and have it in my hand in 7 days. So it's something that that's kind of the method behind this is to hey, goof around with stuff and again, Jeremy torture tested, not this one with the lightning slots in it, but Jeremy tested the regular blade version of it, okay, and in resin, and busted the front nose off the thing. So it doesn't work very well in resin so far. So, but the nylon, and like I said, I just got these on Monday afternoon, and I got them in a car right now, and I just raced it around this morning, and it seems pretty good right now. I'll tell you as time goes by how good they are.
Really good.
They do look good. One of the guys on YouTube has asked if it's possible for a design variation to have the wires and ferrules go in from the side so that a car with a lower front end could use them.
The wires and
kind of like the LMP guide, except not.
Or like the MR slot car guide on the Shadow.
Or like the MR slot. Instead of everything going in from the top, which requires a higher front end car.
My quick answer to that is, you know, if a dummy like me can use Fusion 360 and design a guide, if you can think it, we can do it. That's my answer.
I guess the question is, can you put that on your to-do list? Because there are people who do that. There you go.
Well, the guide thing, okay, I know that people are gonna like it, okay, whether they like the style that I did, they're gonna like the fact that, you know, it's gonna be available on that either as a print or as the actual part and stuff, and it's kind of inexpensive, and the variations can, you know, the sky's the limit as far as I'm concerned.
Yep.
All right, here's a photo of the first version of the Sidewinder side pot, and I will say that I did make some errors on this, okay, none that I couldn't correct to make it run, okay, but one of the things I did wrong was on the bearing hole here. when I did the reverse engineering, stealing all of Maurizio's design ideas on his pod. I had 3 pods that I was working with. One was a 0 pod, one was a 0.5 offset, and one was a 1. And I was shooting for a 1 offset. So I had these 3 metric dimensions that I was using, and like an idiot, okay, I used the wrong dimension. Instead of I was shooting for a 1 pod and I ended up with a 0 pod. So I need to change that to get back to 1. Okay, but other than that, and a couple other little things like the distance between the motor shaft and the axle. Okay, I want to move it to quote Chris Walker, 1 schnick. And in my mind, a schnick is less than 5/1000 of an inch. So I want to move it a little bit. Although the gear mesh came out pretty good. Okay, I want just a little bit more on it. Okay. And the other thing that I made that was sort of an error was on the bottom of the guide. I'm going to flip to the next picture here. On the bottom of the pod, these surfaces here, if you watch the thing here on a slot.it car, okay, have a bevel, okay, and like an idiot, I didn't put that bevel on this part, and that was a mistake. Okay, it needs the bevel to fit down inside the slot.it pod, okay, or chassis, I'm sorry.
Yes.
And so that was a mistake on my part, but the rest of it was pretty good, and I will show you that as we go. So to make this work, I ended up having to sand down this surface with a chamfer on it, this one with a chamfer on it, and this whole surface with a chamfer on it. And for the correction, I will have to change my little lightning holes here a little bit narrower and move them a little bit so I can, angle this off. And so that was a couple little things, in general, I was pretty happy with that I got away with it. Okay. That's a front view of it. Okay. Got a little lightning thing on the top, and on the bottom, we got both of those. Okay. Here's a shot of the car in the car. Okay. This is a Ferrari F40 slot.it Ferrari F40 Polycard chassis. Okay. And this uniquely has a 3D printed SLS guide in it, snap in right there. There's the guide. It's got 2 Professor motor oil light bushings, and that's what they look like. And a Sidewinder pod, SLS nylon, and SLS nylon 3D printed wheels with aluminum inserts pressed and glued in. So it's pretty interesting car. And this car just got assembled yesterday afternoon, and I just ran it this morning, and I probably did 100 laps on it trying to break the guide, and the guide did not break yet. So, and the pod seems to work pretty good, other than this is a Nomad car, and it's way too high in the back. I want a one pod drop, and this is a 0. So, but other than that, I'm very, very happy with it. There's another shot of it.
You also have the Nomad mic front weight in it. People might be interested in that.
Oh, this here? This is what we call it the Mauer plate. Okay. And it's just a piece of lead that is contoured to the chassis itself. Okay. And I've been doing that a lot on I have a series that we're going to run in the fall that is strictly no mag. And so I've been working a lot on weight and no mag cars, and we run silicone tires, so it's no mag silicone and lighter or smaller RPM motors. And this idea with the low weight contoured to the chassis thing, I really stole it from Chris Walker, but he didn't want to take credit for the idea. So we changed the name from the Walker plate to the Mauer plate. Okay. And I have a little bit of weight in the back of it. Okay. But one more photo here. Here's the side view showing this back wall as it goes up. Okay. And this, this guy here, I even think I want to take this all the way up. and maybe even over the top. And I really want to add some strength into this area here. Okay. And you see one little thing that I'm going to do differently on, on these side pods. I don't know if you guys can see this real well. Maybe I can zoom up on it. You see how they got like a little chamfer here for you to slide the motor in to. And on this motor pod, I decided, hey, I always like that chamfer. I'm going to put it on these little things on this side. So I chamfered these off, and it's really not necessary. So I'm going to take those off the next versions of the next go round of prototypes for it. Okay. Here's another shot from the top. Let's see what's different about this. It's just a shot from the top. It's probably the better shot. Okay. There's a bottom shot. Okay. Shows the pod in the chassis with the gear mesh, and it's pretty light. Okay. It's as weird as it might, and I didn't weigh the damn thing. I should weigh it, but I know I'm going to find that it's even lighter than the other pods, the other stock, or 1 millimeter drop pods that I have. There's the guide in the car with some NSR grades in it. Okay, and hey, it works for me so far, so it's been pretty successful. Okay, so the next one is this one is just got a couple of shots. Now these are Mike's wheels that we just did. We took the mag part and we turned it into a SLS nylon ranch design insert, aluminum insert wheel. Okay, for his Pioneer cars. Mike, is it? It's Mike Maurer. Pioneer Trans Am cars. Okay, and that's the front of it. That's the back of it. And you'll see that the back's carved out for the so it's a flush back design. Once you put the insert in there, that it's completely flush. And the front wheel is exactly the same wheel, but it has just an axle slot in it for just a straight axle, push on straight axle. Okay. And that's about it.
Well, it all looks fantastic. And of course, the big question is, when are people other than us super awesome people going to be able to get their hands on those things, and how and all that? But I guess we'll have to wait.
All that stuff. And that's why I haven't showed a lot of it, till now. Okay. Now I've actually got some of the stuff in my hands, and it's all prototype stuff. And, I want to, torture test the stuff. And then once I do that, I'll make it available for people. And I don't want to go into business doing it or anything like that, but people know who I am, and if they don't know who I am, they can get on here and find out who I am and work it out. And if you're on the chat, and you want some, just let it be known to me, and we'll work on it. Okay. And as far as the inserts go, I think more people are going to be interested in the insert. And Jeremy, who's in charge of the Iowa division of Outlaw Parts, okay, and he doesn't want to admit that he's involved in it, okay, but you have to talk to him about resin inserts, because he's the one they were his idea, and him and I jointly have worked on the design of them, and he's doing the prototype stuff, and so it's been pretty cool stuff. Okay, so you might want to comment on that at all, Jeremy?
Yeah, here's like the regular slotted inserts, and then you put that little like white cap thing you put on those for their inserts. So then we've been working on the insert like that, a turbofan kind of insert. I don't know how bad my camera is here. So that's been the hardest thing, because those fan blades are so small that they just kind of rip apart. So we're trying to figure out how to get that better. And then with the slotted wheels, 15s on a Pioneer car, here's a steel insert to make it look like a 5-spoke kind of thing. And then there's the same one, but with a chrome kind of look on it. So I still think I gotta paint the back, because like I said, you can see through the mirror to the back side of it looks wanky. But I think if I paint that black, it'll look a little better. But it's just nice to have actual inserts now for Pioneer. If you're gonna run Pioneers, instead of just seeing ugly wheels go by, you can get period correct inserts for it. So thanks to Garth.
As always, very awesome, and looking forward to more information on those. And I look forward to getting those and sticking them in the cars and checking them
They're
out.
in the mail. So
Excellent. All right. So again, put your hand up if you want to do some show and tell. Don has something he wants to show and tell. Go ahead, Don.
Well, if you look in the background there, sitting on my chair, you see a nifty little box.
Ooh.
I'll bring it a little closer.
I believe those are somewhat rare.
Well, this was a eBay purchase. That I placed a bid on and was surprised when I won it. And nobody bid against me. That was what was even wilder. And it was the entire set of
Wow.
track everything. The cars are gorgeous.
Nice. Looks like
Yeah.
you already have both of them. I see you've got another black one there.
Well, this is the old Firebird that I got the melted tires out of the chassis and the wheels and everything, if you recall.
Yeah,
And
no, I meant the other one that's got the white roof.
Oh, well, that was another piece of junk that I had bought one time. Now, this is not set up original. It has a NASCAR chassis on it from either a Charger or something. It definitely didn't belong on this car. And
looks
this
cool, but
does
Don,
look good,
it
yeah.
looks cool.
It's
Very
been
cool.
cut out around the wheels and everything, and it runs all right. But I finally got the correct tires for this. And I don't know if this particular car ever came with lights in it or not. Does anybody know?
Probably not. If it was
Well-
analog, because it's quite an old Carrera, right?
Yeah, well, it's the Smoky and the Bandit. Well, it has lights in it now. But anyway. Then another car, I was hoping Bill was going to be on because he was telling me about, well, all of us, his dilemma with his GTO and it being a front motor drive. Well, they actually made it with a rear motor drive.
Is his GTO so that's a Carrera. Is his GTO also a Carrera?
Yes.
Huh.
But this one is a digital.
Ah, okay.
And how long they made it, I don't know. But this car did not come with lights in it as a digital. And the way the chassis is made on it, they never ever intended to put lights in it because there's absolutely no place to put them. So, but anyway, if he can find him one of these chassis, he could fix his up. But I think there is a difference in the interior on the old one versus this one. I think this is only a half interior versus the full interior that he was wanting to try to salvage. But very good running car.
If he wants lights in it, you should send it to Geo. And if Geo can't put lights in it, nobody can put lights in it.
Well, there's ways of doing it. You're just not going to be able to plug one of their light chipsets in.
Oh, no. Yeah.
But
So Don, I have the original Evolution of that car. And it has a provision for lights in it, but no lights came in it. You can see at the front and the rear, there's positions for that, for a light bar, you know, across
that's for the GTO.
No, that's for the Firebird.
Oh, yeah, the Firebird has the places for the light bars.
Okay.
And I had a light bar that I think came out of a Scalextric's car that just kind of fit right in there in place. And I cut the wires on it and put a plug on it and plugged it in, and it works.
Cool.
So it's not as bright as the Carreras, but it's better than no lights at all. So, but that's my show and tell for the day.
All righty, cool stuff. Thanks for sharing, Don. And I don't see any other electronic hands. Does anybody want to wave their real hand? Alan, do you got something you want to share? Krista has something he wants to share.
If I hope my internet's not too bad. I've just moved house, haven't got the internet hooked up, so just working through my mobile phone. Going back to Garth's show and tell, where he's making these guides, something I've been doing over the last few months is I've realized that every car I've got, I've replaced the guide. I always put a screw-in guide in any car that matters. So I have a box full of these clip-in guides that I don't really like and I don't really use. But I had a rush need for a guide the other week. And what I found is you can modify these guides. And I tried lots of different things. The one thing that really seems to work is to use a grub screw, like a slotted size grub screw, the small one. You can drive it down into the guide post. And if you get the right length, you drive it down into the guide post until it starts to stiffen up, and then you loosen it up. And in some ways, that stops the guide from coming out because you've locked it with the flanges out. And it also stops it from tilting and looking. And, you know, I don't think any of my teammates would pay any attention to that because they just throw all those things away and buy screw-in guides. But it's a useful little thing. So if someone wants to experiment with that, see if they get the success I did, then that'd be nice. Peculiar about the wheel inserts and the need for reality, because the Gas Monkey team, we're not interested in that. We're interested in minimum we can get away with compliance. And Mark Long makes wheel inserts now that are a quarter of the weight of the Scale Auto wheels. And he's trying to get them even lighter. So, you know, it's a different effort. So that's where we're at.
Well, ours are 1/8 of the weight. So
yeah. Well, that's a good thing to remember about the snap-in guides, because if you have a rule set that says you can't replace the original guide, but the rules don't say anything about not being able to put a screw up top to keep it in, there you go.
And yeah, a plain headless rub screw, small one, no head on it, and you can drive it down as far as you need to, and it seems to work just fine. It's a big improvement over not having it there.
Yeah.
There you go. That's my tip.
All right. Thanks for the tips. And Krista, did you have something you wanted to share?
Oh, I can show you something. Do you hear me?
Yep.
Mario Andretti's car from 1969, 429 Ford.
Nice.
You see anything?
Oh yeah, great. I'm
and
speaking.
This car I bought back. This car I was going to race 2012. Built this car for the Neumünster racing. I bought
The
it
one that
back.
we were at 3 weeks back.
Oh, exactly. So it's going to have Alex Ortman chassis in it. We're going to change that. And I work with my Volvo just now.
122. Amazon, as you call it.
Amazon, yeah.
So we little work. I have a Ferrari is going to be in the team next year, 512 short tail. And I go to Berlin in January, a race with them. I talked with Don Elvald just before I get out here. And I'm going to drive a Matra 670 with lights and everything, and no limit chassis in that. So that's going to be very interesting. So I'm looking forward for that race. But in August next year, when we go to New Münster, I'm going to have 2 race cars there. And one car is going to be built by Patrick Brau. And it's going to be the Kodalunga, and the other car I'm going to build. So we're going to have 2 teams there for next year. And I have invited Dennis to a race. We see if he's coming.
Yeah, I don't think Dennis performed well enough to get an invite to another one.
Oh, of course you are.
But yeah, it'd be interesting to have more Ferraris in that race, because this year when we were there were 19 cars, but only 5 of them were Ferraris. The rest were all Porsches.
Yeah.
So a little bit more variety would be good.
The Ferrari, the short one, is going to be Nino Vaccarelli's car that he raced at Targa Florio, number 6. And the other one, the long tail, the Kodalunga, is going to be Ronnie's and Derek Bell's cars. So I'm looking forward for the race then. And also very happy to be invited and drive for the team from Österreich.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's very happy for me that the guys wanted me be in the team. So
there you go.
The chassis on the Porsche is it's an old Werk chassis. So that we're going to change to No Limits from Alex Sortman.
Yeah.
And this chassis is very good.
That was like the one that you sent me for practice. I used for practice in Neumünster. It was a very nice car.
Yeah, it is.
They work very well.
Yeah, they do. And the Volvo is going to have a No Limit chassis too. Yeah, I think 54, 55 or something in the width. And between the front and the rear, I don't have measurement yet.
For those who don't know, No Limits is the name of the company that Alex Ortman runs, and he's the son of Michael Ortman, who used to make or still makes the tires, the urethane tires that a lot of us use.
Dennis, I think he is the best in the business for chassis today.
Yeah, he's making some very good stuff.
Yeah.
Do you think that his chassis are better than the Nemus chassis?
No, I think that truly.
Okay.
I think the distribution and the weight and the construction for the chassis holders and everything, one of the best today.
Yeah, they have that really fancy system where there's actually only one screw right in the middle of the chassis underneath, and you take that one screw out and the body comes off. And it comes off with whatever the mounting pieces are, and some of the weight that's used to move around in the bottom of the chassis is actually attached to the body, not to the chassis at all. And then that single screw thing it's really quite clever. It has these 2 little interlocking pieces of carbon fiber with this one screw that goes through and locks it all together. And you can, to an extent, you could start playing with the clearance and the amount of movement that the body has by adjusting that before you tighten up the screw.
So
Or you run the screw ever so slightly loose and allow the thing to move. It's a very clever system.
no, it is. Oh, it's all from me. Thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thanks for sharing, Krista. And I know Geo has something to share, and I'm gonna surprise Jonah here and ask, did you want to do, because I know you have some really cool stuff to share, but I'm not gonna make you share the things that you've been sharing on Slot Forum. Do you want to do a share today? You're muted. There you go.
I mean, I don't have much to show.
You're much too humble.
I have a Porsche body shell here that I printed at home. It's and I'm working on a chassis for a NSR McLaren right now that I use as a test mule to evaluate chassis for the Porsche.
So for those who don't know, because he's not saying it, Jonah has designed a Porsche 911, GT3?
Yep.
From scratch in CAD. And you basically taught yourself CAD by designing this car from scratch, more or less. And it looks
well, I've known basic parametric CAD for a couple of years. But I've learned freeform CAD.
Yeah.
All during this year.
Wow. He's got some great pictures on Slot Forum showing the progression of his Porsche 911 design. And you're more or less, or no, I think one of your last posts said you're going to redesign it from scratch, or was that the chassis? You're done with the body, though.
I would consider myself done with the body. I'm in contact with a printing company right now to order a new prototype.
Nice.
The chassis I've gone through, I think it's the 5th completely different iteration. And I'm still not sure if I'm happy with it, but
as the designer, we never are.
Very, very nice. Where are you located?
I am in Örebro, Sweden.
Ah, so 2 Swedish guys on the call today.
I'll dig up the link to your Slot Forum post so people can check that out.
Mm-hmm.
So I won't keep you on the spot any longer. Did you want to say anything else before I move on to Geo? Good to go?
No, I don't think I have much more to say.
Okay, I'll let you go.
I'm working a bit on the interior right now.
Awesome. Look forward to that. Well, thank you for coming, and hopefully you can come more often. And thanks for sharing. And sorry to put you on the spot like that.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
All right, go ahead, Geo.
So yeah, I mean, actually, I got to have Jonah here. So, do you have any picture of your chassis, Jonah?
A picture of my chassis?
Yeah, the last one that you posted on the Slot Forum.
The last one. I'm working with 2 computers here because one doesn't have a webcam and one is really slow.
Okay, because I think that chassis has something really cool. I think the pod as well. So while you find something, okay, go ahead and then maybe let's see whether you can share something and having a chat. And don't listen too much to Tamar.
I've got his.
I shouldn't listen too much to him.
I'm gonna share.
No, because he's fixated with the bloody NSR kind of demanding stuff. So don't listen too much to him. No, I'm kidding. He's good. He's good.
Yeah,
this is one of them. This was from earlier this week or last week.
Yeah,
this shows
that's pretty much the current chassis. I've done a few changes.
This is cool.
What specifically were you digging on this chassis, Geo?
So basically, I mean, the configuration is similar to the Black Arrow with the 4 points long. I mean, the central one is quite long and nearby the front axle, but it's with a wide. There's a U-shaped kind of brackets around that makes the chip installation easier than the Black Arrow.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think also like the fact that you can easily set the screws. I mean, and the one, yeah, you can see that basically the stuff for the cap holding the screw basically does not rotate because it kind of has this tab that yeah. The only thing that I think Yona should do would be to put a grab screws like the Black Arrow in order to be able to control the movement. I don't know if he's done that.
Is that what these are?
No, this would be the movement of the body.
Okay. You meant
But
for the
Black Arrow, yeah, Black Arrow has this smart way with the grab screw that you can still control from the bottom of the chassis without opening up the body to control how much movement you want to have in the pod. So I think the Black Arrow system is the best that there is in the market. But with this design, if Yona is gonna, or Jonah again, what is the right pronunciation? Yona or Jonah?
Yeah, it's in Sweden we say Jona, but
okay, I would try with
that's probably not.
Or to this where in Sweden are you?
Örebro.
Ah, okay. You drive on the wood track in Örebro.
Yep.
Yeah. Then I know.
You know them.
There's another interesting thread that they're doing a CNC milled wood track, not just CNC the slot, but they did a corkscrew that was CNC milled out of multiple stacks of.
Yeah. I've seen the track.
Really cool.
I think it's a very old track. It's from 2000 something. The track.
I think you guys are talking to different.
We're talking about two different tracks.
Yeah.
Yuna has a home track that's.
Okay. All right.
Krista's talking about.
You have a track in Örebro that is very different heights on the track.
Yeah. Let's see if I can. Yeah. If you can. I'm currently working on.
There you have the track. Yeah.
Nice.
So these are your parents, right?
All the elevation changes are CNC milled.
Wow. Have you raced in Karlskoga?
No, I have not.
You have not been there?
Never.
Okay. They have.
I just started racing at Malmgatan last year.
Okay. Nice to see you.
Yeah, you too.
You guys should hook up.
It's very long distance, I'm in the north.
I'm sure they'll see each other at some point in the not too distant future.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I think we've embarrassed Yuna enough. Go ahead, Geo.
Yeah. Okay, so I think I already kind of posted something on the Word Form Facebook stuff about what I'm going to show. The pictures are not in specific order, so bear with me because I've been taking at different stages. But so been working on these NSR 500, NSR Abarth 500.
No, it's a Fiat.
Yes,
it's an Abarth,
not a Fiat 500. Yes,
it is a Fiat actually. Yeah. So, which actually does not exist anymore. So yeah, so these are very old white kit that I bought a long time ago.
Nice color and the production you have done.
Yeah, so decals are from Altalaya. I mean, one of the Spanish brand. It's not 100% correct in the sense that the top should be white instead of silver. But I decided to go silver because I have other white 500, so I didn't want to basically to kind of be too close with each other. I think the silver basically works well here. So again, the idea is to try to build together kind of small class. So I'm preparing like 6 cars and put oxygen chips in it. So this is one that is already installed. Yeah, I mean, I still, just to be clear, I still don't like these connectors here, but because I'm freaking lazy, and I have many to do. So what I did was I took the connector from the front and put on the back, just to be as quick as possible. Because if I had to prepare my own connectors, it will take much more time to solder and whatever. But I think I have to do for other couple of chips that I have. Another things to note is that the motor, so this motor here, is not the standard motor comes with these cars. The one that comes is like 21 or something too crazy for this little car. So this is an AliExpress motor. I think it's a couple of bucks with tax included, and at 12 volts basically is running at 13k RPM. So it's a very slow motor. So it's basically like the Ningo Classic thing. So, but at 12 volts with these cars basically goes very well. And the pinion is, I think should be one of these Revo slot. I think if you remember, I've built some white kit of the Revo slot and removed the pinion for something else. So, and it works pretty well in this application. So this is the chassis without any weights in it. I mean, I put a bit of a lead here and here on the side pan, and the cars are decent. I mean, I think for those of you that have already raced these cars, basically know that they can be a bit tip prone, also because the front of the front axle does not have holders. It's not adjustable, so there is a bit of slope, which basically around the corner can cause some the slotting. But with a bit of lead here and here, I think maybe 2.5 grams each side, kind of help with this issue. And the car goes pretty well. I mean, the motor is not that powerful, so this helps as well. So, you know, the bottom, nothing special. The LED just go through. There's a hole that is used for fixing the cars to the plinth. And so this is the car semi-finished. I mean, there are still the lights that need to be done. And this is another white kit that I did. So if you know, I mean, this is one of the last releases from this livery has been one of the last releases from NSR. So this was a bit of pain to kind of paint, and already with the lights installed on the truck with the chip. So this is the other one on the truck with the lights on. That's why I said that the order of the picture is a bit of a mess. The two cars together, and this is a bit of close up. So the installation of the lights is nothing special. I mean, just kind of made the hole for where, yeah, you know that basically the lanes have like a pin that goes through a hole, and then they kind of with solder iron, they kind of made hot in order to fix it. So basically I made that hole a bit bigger in order to make sure that the LED shines through. And then I use different size LEDs for the 4 front lenses, and for the rear, they are red, of course. So this is some kind of close up without lights, this out of focus shot. I love these little cars. So these are some pictures of the chassis, and this is some close up of the of the lights installed. So as you can see, basically there are 4 LEDs in the front and 2 at the back, and the usual basically kind of gig that I do for installing lights, working with my light kit, if you want to call it light kit. Yeah, that's me for now.
Yeah, great paint job.
Yeah,
Great
nice
job. And I like the idea because I like running those cars, but like you said, the motors are way too quick for those cars. But in my opinion, I agree with your opinion on that. I wonder, because I'm more likely to race those analog. I wonder if 10 volts or even 9 volts would make them more Yeah, I'll have to do some
And
experimenting.
it probably worked
Yeah.
on the
Yeah,
21 motors.
I try with that, but that motor from NSI seems like is almost on and off kind of switch,
Yeah,
even
very
like a
quirky.
10 volts is like a, so
Yeah.
this one is much more usable across the different, so yeah, as I say, maybe ideally you would like to have a 14K motor, one of those blue, what's a rabbit called? I mean, there is a
H&R, yeah.
Yeah, H&R, yeah. So one of those I think would be more idea, but I mean they cost more than $20. So these are it's
I was gonna
1/10
say
of the
maybe
cost.
see if you can find that AliExpress motor
I've
and
been
all.
trying, man. I've been trying. I can tell you, I've been trying. Most of the motors that you see there, they basically have like 25, 26, 30K motors, you know. So they are very kind of weak. Very weak magnets. So and not a real idea for these applications.
You
I would
should
like
try
to
one
try
of those.
actually.
Should try one of those ABOS with a 21K long can angle winder in it.
Oh,
That's
God.
interesting. I actually, one of the ones that I bought came like that. It may not have been an ABOS. It may have been one of the other small cars like that, like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Renault Clio or one of those. But it
Yeah.
was undrivable. I had to change it all out.
Yeah. That was
Oh, okay.
ridiculous.
I have a one. Okay, I have the Albert 2000.
Yeah.
Which so, and that's I bought like secondhand on our local eBay here in New Zealand, and it's with the 21 long can inline.
Yeah.
So which I think
Yeah.
would be ideal for
inline.
rally
Oh,
type
wow.
of car. Yeah, actually, it's not that bad, but yeah, I mean, I'm preparing another class for that because the Clio and the Albert 2000 they share the same chassis, the same
Mhm.
platform. So I bought a bunch of the Evo version with chassis with basically adjustable front axle, and you cannot find the body. You cannot find these cars anymore. So I just bought the chassis and the bodies, just the top, right? So 3 and 3, I think. And I'm gonna make another small class around that. Running gears, I think I have plenty of NSR stuff so that I can put together something. But yeah, and the other thing that I'm trying to do here is because I want to build, when I build like 6 sides, kind of it takes a long time. So I'm not gluing and screwing the tires. So these are running with stock tires as they come, and they go pretty well actually. I mean. Maybe the one that I show you actually has the front tires kind of true tapered because these are some old cars that I had like 500 that I bought a long time ago, and I was trying to tune them, but they were still too kind of tippy with that, and that motor was kind of crazy fast, so never really enjoyed that much. Plus, I was running the old. I got hold of some old. Oxygen A chips, so I still have it. And basically, it's a bit undrivable, even like with the new firmware. But yeah.
With
Anyway,
those
yeah.
NSRs, is the gear on the bell end or on the can end?
It's on, I don't know, man, on the metal side. What's the bell?
That's the bell. Or can, that's the can. Okay. Because I got these little cheap motors from AliExpress for 14,000 RPM for 29 cents a piece. And I run them in all of my Nincos run these little golden motors now.
Yeah, Alan is like, please don't say bell end.
End bell.
End bell, not bell end. All
One
right.
of the two.
Yeah, all right. It's always there somewhere. What are you showing off, John? All right, I'm going to highlight you here. What you got? Hold it up. Hold it up again, John. Hold it up again, John.
It's got a nice Electric Dreams t-shirt.
Oh, muted.
I'll ask to unmute here. Where did you go?
There you go.
Okay.
It's that Ferrari brass chassis project.
Oh, yeah.
I have a little bit more done. Still no soldering, but I'm kind of getting the layout, figuring out how things go together. Maybe, not sure.
Been good.
Keep on keeping on.
Trying. Yep. It's been busy around here, so.
All right. we'll see that sooner or later.
Yeah.
Looks like we're done with show and tell, unless anybody else has anything they're forgetting to put their hand up for. Not hearing any. Time for club
Can I
corner.
do a quick intermission, Greg?
What was that,
Can I
Alan?
do a quick, just because Yona was trying to get to the Derby Le Mans event last year or this year, and I wasn't able to help him do that, which is a shame because I'm sure he'd have enjoyed it. But the thing is about running one of those teams, it's so intense. You can't get distracted by moving your logistics around, by trying to help other teams. You have to leave it to the other teams to do what they want to do. But I'm sure that Yona can find a way, or we will find a way. Who wants to come to Derby and race digital 24-hour? We'll find a way to make that happen. So let's stay in contact.
Well, I really hope I can do that next year.
Just don't forget, keep bugging them.
It's really all about if I can afford it or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there is also like a race. When is it? I mean, so there are a couple of interesting races if you want to try GT3 and digital or WEC and digital. So I think there is one coming up in Belgium, and then in January there is the one in Eindhoven, the Netherlands, Suzuka.
Yeah, I'm planning to go to Eindhoven.
Okay, when?
Yamaha's almost guaranteed me a team there.
Okay, good. So yeah, maybe we're gonna see each other there then. Because I'm planning to be there as well.
Yeah, I'm really unsure if I want to do Le Mans, but I'm not sure if I can afford it. Maybe if I sell a lot of cars, but
if you get to race at Eindhoven, that's a baptism of fire in itself. That track is hard. That club is hard. Those people who race there, they are proper full throttle racers. So, just if you can get a chance to race there with Tamara and those guys, take that chance and see how you feel about digital racing after that.
Didn't Henry Robinstein give us a report on Eindhoven once? At one time.
And Wayne's been, and probably Alan's been, and
yeah, maybe it was Alan's.
You haven't been to Eindhoven, Alan?
Yeah, I've been to Eindhoven.
Okay.
Hated every minute of it. but that's what happened.
Yeah, don't.
And the car wasn't good enough, and it was problematic. We had problems with the oxygen. We had problems with the throttle. Our SCP3 wasn't behaving properly. Two of our chips got burned, including, Greg, the one that you sent to me that I kept as a special. That got updated to version 4, and that just killed it. So it's like nothing. With the only good thing about going to Eindhoven was me and the guys found a place to go drinking, and we went drinking, had some food. That's the only good thing that happened. I mean, Graham and Mark are still thinking they'll go back there, and I'm very undecided whether I want to go back there because it was hard work. The venue was hot. It was very crowded. It was a difficult track. The technology didn't work properly. People were quite hot-headed.
The long old.
I don't really like that kind of thing.
To go and have a nightmare of a time, isn't it, Alan?
I think 4.0
is. Do that to an international event. Yeah, 4.0 for the UK National Digital Championship is a guarantee for next year. SCP3 is a mandatory prerequisite. And, there are lots of things about the technology that still unnerve me, especially the cost and the software licensing. But in the end, it's a proprietary technology. You don't have a choice. If you're gonna participate, you have to do what needs to be done.
Yeah, things are changing, but from more recent racing, 4.0 seems to be a bit more solid. And I have yet to test it, but my hardware is on the way. I'll be testing it soon.
You see the 4.1 beta is already out. and being handed out to people. So I don't even know what 4.1 is supposed to bring. There's no release notes or anything, but that's lots of technology, right? We're always playing catch up.
Release notes are not top priority. That would be really nice, though, to have release notes.
Is the 4.1 beta a fix, or is it further features?
I've never had.
Who knows?
Anything.
Asking.
As far as the public is concerned, it's really pre-release, right? The whole thing is beta, right? There's never been any 4.0 non-beta yet.
Yeah.
So you can't really.
So it's still in testing mode. But I've heard that when they raised they've used in a couple of events without the big issues.
Yeah.
So I think even in one of the race, I don't know if Harry posted anything here. There was in Belgium. They did this Monza circuit. I think it was a 4-lane Ningo Monza circuit that they did. It was a kind of relaxed type of race, but they managed to run 4.0 without any problem. So yeah. Anyway, so I finally got the license. I have all the hardware, so I'm gonna check if it works. Maybe I could do this a live.
What I would say to that,
maybe not.
Live testing session.
What I would say to that, Gio, is that never have I been to an Oxygen event. Never have I been to one. 3.0, whatever version is. Never have I been to an event where there haven't been technical problems. There's always been a problem with the chips, the controllers, chrono. The track has to be shut down for half an hour because that kanji doesn't work. But I've never ever attended an Oxygen event where there haven't been problems. That has never happened. And we should expect more really from Oxygen than this, because you travel, you put a lot of money and effort. You build the cars to be as physically good as they can, and then you get let down by the technology. Sometimes it's just heartbreaking.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very
talking about 24 hours. That's
I'm a kind of I'm very keen, vocal in criticizing. I mean, you can see in the forum as well, but I mean, credit to the creditors to begin, right? I mean, I think it's just so. First of all, if a slot you decide to drop Oxygen, there is no alternative. There isn't. I mean, maybe the only one would be Dalvik. I mean, but that will require a lot of changes, right? And the thing is, they try to do their best, and they are, at the end of the day, they are small, and I think it's just sucking up a lot of their time and resources as well. So yeah, I mean, I've been in Eindhoven, man, traveling half of the freaking globe to get there with my car latest chip, and the car was going sometimes in pit mode in the middle of a race, or was going full throttle, and I had the Lamborghini basically flying full throttle on the main straight and going on the floor. I still have the scuff on the roof. So, and then next year, same hardware, didn't change anything, just a new release of the software, and the car was going, like me. And I agree. So there is always something going on, but I still love it. I don't know, man. I mean, it's the environment, the people. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Anyway,
I'm very much the same as you on that, Geo. I have done some successful Oxygen races. They are a rarity. And it does leave you with the impression that Alan's just voiced, that it's never been to one that's perfect. But there's been some small ones, and there's been some small ones that work perfectly well.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when I did my first Eole at the moment, 24 hours at Le Mans. I was kind of in the hot seat, a race director, right? And there was someone screaming, "Stop, stop, stop," because there was basically a car dead in the middle of the straight. And so what I did, I mean, here, track call. So I hit pause on the bloody chrono, and we had to waste more than an hour to try to recover all the data and shit, because basically the bloody thing was not coming back live. So, that will stay with me forever. But yeah, anyway, I mean, yeah. So But still, when it works, man, it's a freaking great piece of a system. I mean,
for me, despite all the issues, those times when you're on the track and you see that kind of fuzzy field ahead of you of where things are, and you manage to place the car exactly where it needs to be, and you chop your way through the pack, and everything else just disappears behind you. They're all fighting. Yeah. I mean, that's just golden. That you can happen in the next lap.
That sense of satisfaction is awesome, isn't it?
Yeah.
I make it work, and you get it, and you just feel like, yes,
Yeah.
yes. Really isn't.
In all the races that
you don't get
the races that I've, in all the races that I've done, this happened like the last, I think it was 2019. Oh no, 2020 actually. In Eindhoven, I was basically supporting one of the Portuguese teams. So I was racing there, and we went into night mode. So they shut down the lights in Eindhoven, which, man, I really clicked with the car, and I had several times where you were going through, the lane changing and traffic, because everybody seemed like it was slowing down, and it's not that I know the track, but I was hitting the right spot at the right time, and it's really kind of very, very, satisfactory when that happened.
Made illegal. Such a high.
Yeah.
Wasn't that the darkest dark session you've ever run? The one in Eindhoven last January, Alan?
I don't remember really. I mean, I was so flaked out by the whole thing. I didn't want to think about it. It was
when they switched off the last light, they didn't have a low light level. It went dim, and some of the lights were out, and then suddenly all the lights were out. And I think the only thing I could pick out in the room was the little LED in the fire exit sign.
Well, good. It was doing its job.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what you want.
I have never more wanted an identifier LED in the car, because my car was only headlights and taillights that day. And with 14 on the track, it was just incredibly the most difficult night session I've ever driven.
Well, I think that's a good segue into Club Corner. Does anybody have any other racing they want to talk about? Past, present, or future? Mike's usually got something to talk about. I have nothing to talk about because our Monday race was canceled due to illness and last minute cancellation. So that kind of sucks. But I see lots of hands, and I don't remember who's went up first, but I saw Mike trying first. So go ahead, Mike.
All right, I'm unmuted now. Yep. I missed the Slotto this weekend, the 124 scale, because of a accident that my wife got into in the real car, and I spent my day fixing it. So, but I did get the Monday races, and we had a really good time. I'm going to try and share. I've got the winners in each class. We had, so I'm going to see if I can get this done the way it was supposed to be. All right.
You can do it.
Well, I've done it before, but it just didn't work last time. Okay. I don't know. Well, okay. They must have changed something on this. It doesn't work the way it did before. Anyway, we had three classes. The first class we had was Scalextric GT3s, and we had a ringer. And Shiggy went and ran away from us because he had a car that was close to a half a second a lap faster, and protested that I was close enough to him at a screaming lap. He said, "Well, you can't penalize me with fuel that much." And so I acquiesced to his protests and paid the price because he actually just ran away and hid from us in the first one. So in the next one, or in the third one that we did with Le Mans cars, he again had, it looked like a half a second lead. Unbeknownst to me, he had, in the interim when we were practicing, run a magnet car just to see. So I penalized him too heavily, and I didn't find out that he had run that Magna car until later. So he got payback for his win on the first one, and I won the second too. So it was, I apologized to him profusely. I said, oh crap, I didn't know that. You know, it's amazing how you can be in the same room with somebody and, you know, not be able to convey the information. So at any rate, I'm still playing around with the balance of performance thing with the 3 cars. You know, if you've got 3 cars and one of them is clearly faster than the other 2, or, you know, 2 of them are faster, whatever, trying to balance that performance there is kind of interesting. It happened this week. I didn't have quite enough time to get the cars equalized as well, and I had one failure of a chip. So it was difficult to get the time to get it done. And I always try to equalize the cars. You know, we could do an IROC where we just do, you know, what we usually do 125 laps. So we could, you know, switch at, say, a 40 lap interval, and that way we could, you know, get a even Steven, but you still don't get practice on the one car. And you'll find that since they come in kind of cold, whereas I probably run 200 or 300 laps testing the cars, I want to make sure that they have at least an even chance. And so that's the reason I do the balance of performance thing. And they're not their cars, they're my cars. So obviously I set them up the way I drive them, and I just go for the fastest lap I can get, and then base my times off of that to equalize the balance of performance. So I'm still experimenting with the fuel and the tank size, and there's trade-offs. If you change the burn rate, it's not linear how much it changes the way it works. So you can drop the burn rate but not increase the tank, and it actually makes it much worse than it would be normally. So I've been trying to drop, if I'm going to drop the burn rate, or increase the burn rate rather, not drop it, increase the burn rate on one car so that it has to use more fuel, which is one way of equalizing it. I have to give a correspondingly larger tank because there's not enough space in between. One point on a burn rate is more than it should be to equalize the cars. So it's an experiment, but it's kind of interesting to do. But it's working so far, and we all had a good time. And Shiggy has been cleaning up the last three sessions that we had, and he didn't quite clean up this time. And poor Mike is to get the luck of the draw. We draw the cars. We don't choose the cars based on the times or anything like that. It's a blind draw, and you just guess, you know, which they're covered, and you just guess which one is which, and we switch them around, and the next guy chooses based on somebody else moving the cars around. So it works. And but you know, the luck of the draw sometimes means you get, you know, you'll do a couple weekends in a row or a couple of times in the same class over months that you get the same car that you had before, because it's just luck of the draw. So sometimes we have to compensate so Mike gets an even hand, because he's been losing out on the pick of the cars lately. So we'll see what happens. But anyway, everybody had a good time, and we got some really close racing. It was back and forth a lot, and it was good fun. So we enjoyed it. So that's it for me. And the Shadow won.
The Shadow, the MR slot car Shadow?
The MR slot car Shadow, yeah, against Thunder Slots, 2 Thunder Slots. So that was, and it was, the times were really close. And actually Mike had a pretty good chance in that one. He finished second in that one. But he ran out of fuel and screwed up his pit stop. And that was the difference right there. It was a lap and a half that I won by. And but we were on each other. If you look at the videos, there was quite a bit of time spent. The two of us were in pretty close proximity, chasing each other, and it was pretty fun.
Speaking of which, the videos are available on Road America Northwest's YouTube channel.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for sharing, Mike. And Jim or Geo, I don't know who wants to go first. Go ahead, Jim.
Okay, let's see here, share screen. So we had our first Tuesday night race at TED. TED SE has a beautiful track called High Sierra Speedway. And we did this on Tuesday night for a couple of reasons I'll explain in just a second. So Tuesday night, we're only going to race 2 classes. So we decided to race Group 5 and GT3. These are the cars that I ran. I've got 2 BMWs for the 1 class and 2 Racer Sideways, a Lamborghini, and a Ford GT for the GT3 class. I also took a new Thunder slot that I'm just building for Can-Am for this weekend. And everybody's seen this before. It's a gorgeous car. I do have one pet peeve. This is a Peter Revson car from Fuji in '68, and it does not have a Chevrolet engine in it. This car is Ford powered. So just a pet peeve of mine with the Thunder slot cars. Even some of the other cars that are Ford powered have Chevrolet valve covers on them. This car ran great. I ran it after the race, built it the same way I built my other Thunder slot car. And I've tried this new Predator 25K ball bearing motor. It's fairly new, I think. And it ran really good. It's very smooth and very fast. And with that motor, I was able to run under the track record with that car. So it's going to be a good car. We're racing those this weekend at another track. One of the reasons we did Tuesday night is we do Tuesday nights with HO. We figured we'd do an alternate with 32nd scale, but we had a visitor. And Brian, where's John? We had a visitor from Canada. And he came down. He's been here for a few weeks, so he decided to come over, and we kind of set this race up because he was going to be in our area this particular time frame. So it was good to have Brian come and race with us, and he's used to running on silicone tires.
Where did he come from? Like
Victoria.
Oh, nice.
Oh yeah, Brian Jones from Victoria. Hey, I totally know him. He's one of my friends.
No, we're just so, like just a little flight away.
Yeah.
So he's down here for 3 weeks or so. He's going to the Rennsport reunion, and maybe I don't know if he's going to join us or some other races. But he raced with us. He's used to racing on silicone tires, so he was challenged. We put rubber tires on his car, and they ran pretty good. But getting up to speed, he did pretty well, I think. So we had a lot of fun and meeting some new people, meeting Brian. So that's most of the rest of our gang there on Brian's left. Here's the GT3 grid, and predominantly McLarens and Lamborghinis from Sideways and the McLarens from NSR, a few others here and there. But those seem to be the 2 predominant cars right now in our group. When all the racing was done, track owner Ted, home track advantage, whatever you want to call it, plus he's a pretty darn good racer, he was first and I was second. So we then switched over to Group 5. And I did something I tell people never do. Never try something brand new and throw it on your car and go race it. But I got these new tires. You know, they're not new, but they're new to me. I've never run them before. They are a pain in the butt to true. But I put them on the car, ran a few laps, and at the end of the race, they worked great. They're a really good tire for the tracks that we run on. And so it took me about a half an hour to true them, and when I took them off the truer, I thought they were bigger than when I started. They're just a pain to true. The last class of the night, this is Mario. Greg met him probably down at Electric Dreams, and so he's raced down there a few times. And he has the Revo Slot Escort. And I said, Mario, would you mind? Because I really want to run this class, and nobody runs it up here yet. So, would you mind if everybody drove your car just to see how they liked it? He said, okay. And so I go, why don't we do something like they do up in the Pacific Northwest, and we do the King of the Hill? So we did that. Thanks, Greg, for the idea. Nice. So we used Mario's Escort for the King of the Hill. We had, I think, 8 or 9 that were still around at the end of the race and the 2 races. And I came out on top in this one too, but it was extremely close. Mm-hmm. So it was something new, and I hope we keep doing it in the future. And it was great because it's a car that nobody's driven before. Nobody has them. Mario has one. So we were all going then blind. We got 1 minute per lane to turn the fastest lap. And so I guess that's pretty much that's the way you do it up there.
I mean, pretty much. I mean, so, we do 10 laps as opposed to 1 minute, but yeah, same difference.
Oh, okay, yeah. So we just did 1 minute. it worked great. I thought it was a huge success. So hopefully we'll do this more often, whether even maybe at the HO track as well. So that's it. We had a great night of racing, and hopefully we're going to be doing some more Tuesday night at Ted's. And I've lost my mouse again. There it goes.
You want me to stop your share?
So, yeah, didn't it stop? Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Jim,
Thanks.
how
So
did
that's
you
it for
like
me.
the Group 2 cars?
I thought they were awesome. His car was stock, other than tuning. You know, he trued the tires and did the normal tuning, but it had no modifications on it. And I thought it was great. It runs on that wood track really well. It slides a little bit. After the first 30 or 40 seconds, it got a little looser. I think he was picking up dirt. And the tires were not glued. I think that would help. They were trued, but they weren't glued. Ted ran his fastest lap towards the end. My fastest lap was right about the 4th or 5th lap. So
we ran them I think 3 weeks ago, if I remember correctly. And I had switched mine to the stickier tires, thinking it would cure a little bit of the tail happiness that's there on the Scale Electric track. Don't do it. the stickier tires on it, the lower shore number, are prone to picking up pebbles. And when they do, it's awful. It got to the point where we would have to actually stop the cars and tape them at a pit stop because it was just so awful. It would just completely wreck the way the cars handle. So I'm going back to using the stock tire, which is a little bit less sticky. And
well,
anyway,
I'd like to try the G25 on those.
I
what I found with the G25 is
they have a different setup. I happen to have one in my hand. If you look, there's a center rib in it that's a depressed
rib. They make
a
G25 for that car. They make a G25 for that car.
Yeah. Oh, wow. I'll have to check that out.
It's hard to get. But the G25s on my Can-Am car, which has got a lot of power in it, it had enough grip, but it was a real progressive slide, and you could overdrive it. But when you threw it into the corner, it just stuck and then powered out. Where some of the other tires I run kind of go in and kind of stop because they've got too much traction. And so that was kind of my take on the G25s.
The other thing we found
G25 is my go-to tire for my track, and I really like it a lot. Have you tried using well, you've got a Hootie probably is for a tire chewer, correct? If I remember.
Yes.
Oh, on the other style of chewers, if you use the drywall screen and do it as Dennis talked about doing with a real heavy movement through it, and then let it sit for a while, because what happens is it tends to glaze over very quickly, and then let it cool, but just go in hard, back off, let it sit for a bit, and then do the other side. And I
didn't have any problem truing them. They just weren't getting smaller. If I overdid it, they would ball up a little bit. But whatever I did, I tried 6 volts just to see what it would do. I tried the grab and release like you do on the Rebel slots, and nothing seems to help getting the tire smaller. I mean, the rubber is just so dense.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, that I found is true. I found that on I had to get some down for a Scale Electric Porsche 911, the newer one that they came out with, the blue and yellow one. And in order to get it down, you really have to work hard on it. I agree with you in that regard, and you have to keep from getting it.
Interestingly enough, on Facebook the other day, MR Slot Car announced that they're going to be selling G25 compound tires, gluten true.
Really?
Yeah.
And I've asked them what the price is. Obviously, I also asked them what the finished diameter is that they're cutting these to. But it was on their site, so that's coming.
Yeah, Ernie has been developing a new machine to grind those tires, because originally the MR Slot Car Challenge that's coming up at Electric Dreams in November, originally was going to be hand-out tires,
Chris
but that particular idea has been abandoned. But yeah, he's been busy making a new machine to grind those tires.
If you're on the Electric Dreams email, the rules for the MR slot car thing came out this morning.
And if you're on Facebook, Mr. Jim Rose just put out a PDF there that has all those rules in it.
Ian.
Oh, was
that
it
was
Ian?
Ian. That wasn't me.
I thought it was you. Okay. Thank you, Ian.
So the
yeah,
MR
the G25 is what we found it
at Electric Dreams. The MR slot car race that Chris had shown he's developing a machine for the handout tires. That's happening at Electric Dreams.
The MR slot car race is happening at Electric Dreams. Yes.
Okay, that's just confirming that. Okay.
But it's no longer handout tires.
Yeah.
What we found with the G25s at Electric Dreams is that they do not have to be polished as smooth as the regular rubber tires do to get the kind of grip that you want. And in fact, if you leave them, I mean, Todd Eulery's been running his basically as they come off his hoodie with an 80 grit drum, and you could still see the lines on the tire. And he says that actually helps with get a nice progressive slide out of the tire.
It is quite surprising that G25 works so well on wood, because the G25 was specifically designed for the polycar track. When I talked to Maurizio about this, and at the time they were still selling F22s, and he was, predominantly aiming things at the Ninko track. And then when the polycar track was envisaged, he said, I'm going to make a tire for this track.
Yeah.
So G25 was designed from the ground up to work on polycar. It is astounding that it works on wood at all.
They work very, the weird part is they work very well on wood.
Yeah, the Can-Am car that I showed you that said that was under the track record, that was on G25 tires also.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they're not soft, are they?
No, they're not.
I think that's part of the reason that they handle as well as they do.
Yeah, I don't know. My opinion is they feel more like foam tires than any other rubber tire I've driven.
Interesting. Yeah.
They have that feel.
But you do struggle to get them down to a particular diameter. That's the biggest issue with them. You basically have to start with a tire that's very close to the diameter that you want, because you really don't get to take a lot off. It just takes so much time once you've got them around. It just takes so much time after that. I really haven't been able to make any great inroads into that at all. And I've tried.
Melts, doesn't it? It just goes glossy looking.
This machine that Ernie is making to cut into G25 specifically, is that a machine that's using a blade, like a scalpel, to chop into the tire?
Not that I know of. I think it's just a grinder, but it's a machine that can grind, I think, 2 pairs at a time. So it's grinding 4 tires all at once.
Yeah, I think he a few months ago, Chris was showing the drum that was milled, and then it's going, or has gone at this point, through an industrial application of diamond grinding material. Mm-hmm. So it's basically a diamond drum grinder.
Like a hoodie.
Like a hoodie, probably very low grit. Whatever, however that works out.
By the way, those pre-mounts from MR slot car will have inserts in them also.
Yeah. They will have MR slot car inserts in them, which.
And is that going to be the control tire for the MR slot car race?
No, the original idea was that it was going to be, but for whatever reason, that particular restriction has been removed from the race. And so we will run that event under the same tire rules as we ran the slotted nationals, which means you can use MR slot car or slotted wheels and any rubber tire that you want. with or without inserts. So everybody can use whatever they've got already. I think that there certainly our initial testing showed that Ernie still has a bit of work to do. Well, hopefully he's got it done now, but the first couple of sets that were sent to Electric Dreams were not quite as impressive as we had hoped. Trying to be very diplomatic here.
All right, we still got some Club Corner to get through. Geo, did you want to do something? Take it away.
Hooray!
Oh, you're still muted. There you go.
Cool. So Wayne is next one. So I'm going to take 23 minutes for this one.
There you go.
Just kidding. Okay, so Oxygen Racing. So we're still running the older version here. So because there is no RCS02 or 4.0 ready to go at the moment. Hopefully it will come soon. So this is still with the 3 point something systems and has been working well so far. So 6 of us racing with young James joining us again for another race. This Porsche, I can tell you that at the end of the race was pretty beaten up. Thanks to James, all the others that have been kind of loaning this car for training. So yeah, line up for practice. So these kind of results for practice, nothing really special. Just warming up the tires and the track. It's still cold here in the South Hemisphere. And then we went to qualify. So similar lineup. Qualify. I just took this picture for the records, but kind of so qualify was again pretty intense. Too many kind of the slots, so people are trying to go hard and come off of the track, and you cannot do not much about it. So my strategy was that we start with 50% of fuel in the tank. So you can do kind of 3.5, 4 minutes with that, going hard all the time. But what I did, was when I had almost like 20% of fuel left in the tank, I went into the pit and I waited for the others to start getting into the pit so that I had the track off for myself. So went out 2 laps. I did this a 5.65 that for the night I think was good, and then went back to the pit and saved the tires because we're running the new compound from NSR and they get all ball up and marble up like Michael was describing for the G, whatever kind of the soft shore for
the Revo slots.
Yeah, we still have that problem. It's kind of bad. Jan with the 65 red line here, he had like 5.67, but this is not a legit track time because of fast lap, because he went straight. Went out at the end of the main straight, and basically you get a bit extra boost there. For the others, I think more or less they are the correct lap times. Okay, so window race 1. These are the lineup, and basically bloody Jan again got the better of me. We're like on the same lap. 109 laps is really bad for us. We should do 115, 120, but again, there are too many offs. As you can see, I think we have a new track record here, 28 offs from James. Yes. So I had to repair as well. So I kind of maintained so the race was just battling between me and Jan on the front. So pit stop, track calls, whatever. So at the end, I had like 1 damage point left when I did my last pit. And I say, screw it. I'm going for it. And it was a mistake. So I managed to come off, or I was pushed off. I don't know, but I had to kind of repair. Jan had to do the same, but he bloody lucky. So that every time he does a pit stop, people come out for him. I don't know what's going on there. But yeah, so we finished on the same lap. So I was trying to recover because I think at one point I was 2 laps behind it. But when I realized that we were close, it was like 20 seconds left, and said, okay, no way that I'm gonna catching up. And his car is still fast. Alex also quite too many offs as well, still 14 offs. I mean, I tried to fix his car. I don't know what's going on. Maybe he's too trigger happy there. So race 2, so I was starting second position. As you can see, the rest of the grid, and this time things went a bit better for me. Only 3 offs, whether what's called it. Jan had 12, so he had to repair a couple of times. In any case, he's a liker because every time he goes into the pit, people come off, so he gets pit stop for free. So Alex car is not far off, as you see, best lap time from the rest, from the top 3 at least, but still too many offs. And there are kind of very weird places that I don't know. It's kind of, this car is not too happy, so I have to kind of look at it in order to try to make it a bit more doable for him. For the rest, young James basically got 16, so it's kind of getting better there. I mean, same as Alex, so not too bad at all. And 91 laps. So I set a goal for him to try to reach 100 laps, at least at the end of the race, in order to kind of, keep the car going around the track as much as possible. Let's see whether, but yeah, I don't think that this night he will manage to do that. So grid for race 3, so semi-darkness here, and again, crap race for me. I mean, not crap race. I mean, again, very close with Jan. Again, the same. We finished in the same lap. My car was going a bit better. I mean, like I managed the fastest lap time and only 3 offs, but still was not enough to catch up to Jan's car. Alex still too many offs, and Combi basically is now coming top 4. I mean, top 4 almost every race at the moment. Although he does not have the fastest car among the AM people. Say again?
I say I don't think you're making it dark enough, because you're doing 117 laps in the dark and 113 in the light.
Yeah, but it's a random, man. I mean, I don't think because you will see this is semi-darkness, and then you will see the next one again. So I think it was that this time there are, if you sum up all the track holes, maybe gonna be a bit less than the others. So I think the track holes basically influence how much laps you can do, how much time you have left, let's say, for the racing. Yeah. Anyway. And then went too dark. Maybe this one. I didn't take. Yeah. So this one is the lineup. So as usual, so when we go completely dark, is a reverse grid. So I was starting. It's the worst position basically on the back and on the outside the lane. So this is my car because I came basically second, and Jan instead of the inner lane at the back. And so what happens this one? So this one was a perfect freaking race. So coming first, 0 damage point, so no offs, and fastest lap. I mean, you cannot get any better than this. Maybe a bit more laps, I don't know. But so what happened also, like this is kind of so starting at the end of the grid, so you have to navigate traffic, and this was basically what Alan was talking about. When you start basically navigating through or weaving through traffic. So I managed basically to be on the right spot at the right time across basically the first 3 laps before catching up with the driver on the front of the grid, which was good. And there were no many offs, I think, at the beginning, or 0 offs. So it was very, very nice. That's, once it happened, that's how you get hooked up to digital. I mean, and especially in dark condition, it's really nice with the lights and all. So my race was a kind of, I didn't have any kind of complaints at all. Jan had too many offs, and that's why basically ruined a bit his race. Alex was catching up to Jan. I think at one point they were on the same lap, or Alex was kind of in front. And then on the rest, I mean, kind of no kind of big changes. So to race to Jan, to race to me, yeah, I take what I get actually, and nice racing at the end of the day. I mean, sometimes frustrating because people come off every time Jan is in the pit, but and when I go, nobody comes off. That's also the other thing. But I was screaming at them like, people, give me a hand. But it seems that they are all kind of rooting for Jan there.
Well, everybody likes to root for the underdog, right?
I am the underdog now, man. I mean, what the heck?
You won that last race. All right, thanks for showing. And additional hands popped up. Mike, did you have a more club corner you wanted, or did you put your hand up for something else earlier? Or okay, all right, go ahead, Wayne.
Okie dokie. I'm going to go racing. I haven't been racing for quite a while. I'm going to share a picture of the circuit that I'm going to go race on. This is my local wood track. I think some of you have seen it before. It's North Wales Slot Car Club. And a couple of weeks ago, they started building this 2-lane Ninco digital track on top of it. It's the first time they will ever have hosted an oxygen race. We've got 8, I think, 2-man teams attending, and it's upcoming this Saturday. Nice. So the track's been there long enough for it to overlap with a couple of club nights, and the club members have managed to gather enough equipment together to run some actual oxygen digital races on this during the club nights. Unfortunately, I've not been able to go, and so I'll be hitting the track green, fresh on Saturday morning against a bunch of people that will have used it, experienced having used it. And intriguingly, it's got a lot of single direction lane changes in it, not too many XLCs or cross type lane changes, which is different. Most of what I've used in the past have been XLCs. And the driving direction is for the drivers. Usually on the wood track, it's left to right for the drivers, which is right to left as you look at it, because the drivers are at the far side. And this time, the running direction will be the opposite way, which is something I've never seen done. And of course, the track is completely different anyway. But yeah, so that's what I'm wanting to go and do this coming Saturday.
So sorry, Wayne. I think I lost the connection there. Which direction does this track go?
When it's a wood track.
No. I don't care. I mean the digital.
When it's digital, it will go from, as you look at it, left to right down that far straight.
Left to right. Okay, yeah.
Roughly clockwise.
So the drivers have their backs to the garage door.
That's correct.
And so from the driver's point of view, it's going from right to left.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, basically standard, right? I mean, most of the track goes that way. Yeah. Does it have a pit lane? Yeah. Wayne?
There is. Can you see my cursor?
Yeah.
Yes.
This is a severe slope, and there is a pit lane on the left side there.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
So this
I mean, you mentioned, yeah.
This is the top of the room. The room has got a sloping floor.
Oh, okay. Doesn't look like.
If you look at the height here, it's nearly nothing compared to the height at the driver's podium. And this is the normal analog plug-in points. There's 4 there, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Well, we're going to have people standing probably 2 this side and 2 that side. I don't know.
How many? So what is the name of the club?
North Wales Slot Car Club.
Oh, okay. So has been so is this gonna be DISCA event, or is it just you guys bunching?
No, it's DISCA GT4 regulations.
Oh, okay, GT4. Okay, yeah.
Cool. There are a couple of other pictures. That one's just a similar thing, but a little closer. The next one is a video clip, which I'm not going to allow it to play because we all know how that works on Zoom. They've got a couple of new buildings. I don't know who's decorated these, but I think they've weathered them really quite well.
Yeah.
I don't know where that one's not weathered, but they've been provided by magnetic rating, and yeah, so we've got a little bit of scenery just to talk.
Yeah, you mentioned that basically there is a single lane changers. I think because the location where they're placed that are where kind of the next or the beginning of the next corner, I think they're placed in the right direction as well. So they're cutting through the corner because most of the time you're not going to use the other side of the lane changer to go on the outside the lane of a corner coming up. I mean, you can do it, but you're going to upset to the car.
Yeah, the interesting thing about this layout is that if you choose one of these lanes, it doesn't matter which one you stick. If you choose to stick to one, you will get the outside of at least 360, not quite, 270 degrees of corners. So there may be a case to change lanes twice every lap. That's
I see. Yeah,
Right.
correct.
That's
so
the
that you
same amount of turns.
No, yeah, but if you change a lane halfway through, because as Wayne was saying, you will be always on the inside the lane. And actually, I can see what he's talking about. So if you change a lane, so if you started from the main straight on the inner side, and then you change a lane just before the bridge, going under the bridge, going the other lane, then you'll be again in the inside lane until before the last corner, the 180, and then change again, and then you will be always on the inside.
Yeah.
And then the question is beggared, is it always better to be on the inside lane?
At the risk of slowing down for the lane changer, yeah.
I mean, depending how quickly you can go through those Ningo lane changes, which actually you can do. I mean, one of the things that I really like is how well the track, basically, as the plastic track, has been adapted to the wooden track layout.
Yes, it's a case of necessity. You see up there, the wooden track goes right, left, right, and that's really difficult, complex. But they've cut straight through it.
Yeah, it's nice. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's this weekend?
Sorry?
That's this weekend.
Yes, it's Saturday, and the race format is there will be 2 20-minute qualifying races to determine the grid positions for the teams, and then a 3-hour endurance.
And so, where did they find this Ningo track?
It's owned by one of the club members. It's a guy called Dave Maddock.
Dave Maddock, okay, yeah.
But you know the name because he's been at lots of races, and he's been collecting track and trying to purchase track for a long, long time. And it's very, very rare. And I do know that the last time we went over to Eindhoven last January, he actually managed to secure a private purchase from an individual over there and went over there to race and then collect some track and then bring it home with him on the flight.
Nice.
And now he's got enough for a full-on...
He's managed to put together enough to cover the local club track. Now, the difficult pieces are the wide radius turns, because R2 common as muck sort of thing. Straights, I don't think straights are in particular short supply, but it's the wider radius turns.
Yeah.
And the lane changes as well.
Yeah.
No doubt. No doubt.
Wow, awesome.
So the lane changes are also Dave's ones?
Yes. All belongs to Dave.
Cool.
Definitely looking forward to hearing how that goes next week.
Yeah.
Let's give Jeremy a few minutes before we end the live session. What you got today, Jeremy?
I was just going to ask. This is a club corner related for how you guys run your clubs. We have a lot more people in our club now, and we have like a section of 4 drivers that are always good and consistent, rarely come out. we have that middle range of people that can win on a day, but they're using the middle. And then we have half a dozen new drivers. And lately the new drivers are irritating the top drivers because they don't listen, they don't ease up, they don't, I try to help them, tell them, hey, go slow to go fast. You'll get, stay in the slot. It's more important than hitting the corner as fast as you can. So what kind of format changes, or have you guys done anything to help address this? Because right now there's talk that the good drivers want to have group racings where like the bad drivers are all in a group by themselves and the good drivers are all in a group by themselves. And I thought, well, why are we even racing together then? Why don't you just show up and race yourselves? But then I understand their point, because they don't want to get taken out in a race, because that's annoying too. And the new drivers don't get better if they just only drive against themselves too. And the only other idea I could think of was like drop your worst heat and take your 3 best heats. And people are like, I don't want to do that either. So I'm just curious, do other clubs have this? Do they just roll with it, or just tell everybody?
So right now you have basically, let's say you have 20 racers.
Yeah.
Right now you basically do a straight or random or Euro, whatever kind of rotation.
Yeah, we do European. Yep.
Mm-hmm. So everybody could conceivably, a top guy could race against 2 bottom guys and a middle guy, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
I don't know what Jim or Dennis is going to say, but I think a format similar to what we did at the Slotted Nationals worked real well, where you qualify, everybody runs qualifying laps, so you figure out where they hit in the speed order, and then you're all still racing for the win, right? So if you qualify badly, if you get a high number of laps, you could still conceivably beat one of the faster guys. Like actually what happened at the Slotted Nationals, because one of the guys couldn't qualify. So he was in one of the slow guy races and got enough laps that he was basically, was he in the top 12? Anyway, that kind of thing can happen. So you basically say, these four slowest qualifiers do their 4 rotation, do their 4 heats, and their total number of laps goes on the chart, right? And then the next 4, based on qualify, do the same thing, and so on and so forth until everybody has run all of their 4 heat, races, or 6, or however many lanes you got. And then the total number of laps is the determining factor. You can then just go by that, or you could say, well, the top 4 race again, or the top 8 do two rotations and race again. So,
And you qualify alone, nobody else on the track. Is that right?
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was going to suggest. I mean, we do that at Modesto. And so in theory, the slow guys are in the B heat, if you want to call it that, or the C heat. And typically whoever wins the A heat wins, because they're probably the faster drivers. But we've had guys finish 2nd and 3rd overall out of the B heat. But it keeps those guys that are just learning by themselves. And that's kind of what you want to do, I think. And they have something to strive for too. Oh, I want to get better and qualify better so I can get in the A heat. And so I think that would work for you. And that's exactly what I was going to suggest, Greg.
The downside to that is that some guys are like a savant as far as getting a fast lap. So you might get a really good qualifying lap, but they came off every single other lap, right? Because they're
that does happen. That's possible.
They're a hot racer, but not a consistent racer.
That happens in magnet racing a lot, because almost everybody can run a good fast lap in magnet racing, but do it consistently is hard.
I guess you could just change that to alter, instead of your best lap, you could have like maybe your best average, or like, out of you do 10 laps or something.
Or you could do timed qualifying. So however many number of laps you get, it's plus.
Dennis, you're muted.
The one thing that Jeremy said that
if we talk all days, 1-2 was in the A final, and then they did 2 semi, and then runner up.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. The thing that Jeremy said.
Go ahead, Courtney.
Yeah, go, Courtney.
The thing that Jeremy said was they don't listen, and that is the challenge.
Yeah.
Because I am very gracious. I love the race. I love the win. And I love to help the guys, but if they don't listen, they get 2 turns. If you don't let me buy in 2 turns, I'm taking you out. The next time I'm on the inside, you're gone. It could be the high bank,
It could be a slow turn. Guess what happens? They come over, they apologize, they let you by the next time, and you help them fix their car. 2 turns. 2 turns.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
also,
that's
I mean,
a classic with the slow guys in our club. They'll just be behind, putting around, and as soon as like the leaders come by, all of a sudden they're on the stick and they're hot riding. I'm like, why are you speeding up now? You should be just letting us pass you.
Yeah, blue flag basically.
Well, the best racing format I've ever been in is like you said, qualifying session. And if you've got 12 guys, 4 lanes, so if you run from the bottom up, run your slowest guys first, and then the winner can bump to the next heat if he wants, or he can take the win. And that's how we've done in the past, not with us, Greg, but I've done it and that worked fabulous. I mean, it was awesome because then the slow guys still feel like they're at least in it.
Yeah.
You know, they get to play.
The problem with that for club racing is it takes a lot more time. And I think that is a perfect solution. I don't disagree with that. I like it a lot. But when we're trying to run 4 or 5 classes in a day, it adds too much time to the program to have move ups. And that's why we just do the ace, the B sort, and so on.
Yeah.
Yeah, but even like with the qualify, right? I mean, so for instance, in our analog club, we don't do, I mean, I'm not going anywhere. They don't do qualify. So what they do is they take the standings for that class, because every night, I mean, every Tuesday night we race analog. So there are 2 classes. And so there are several classes across the year, right? So they take the results from the previous race for that class, and that gives you the order. And so you start with the bottom 4, and then the next 4, and then the next 4, right? And so, and if you have like, because it's a 4-lane track, so if you have odd numbers, like for instance 7, so what they do is the first 4 race, the bottom 4, and then 1 goes to the next heat, for instance, so that you have always 4 cars, which I like that kind of stuff, because usually you can get the win. And about the fact that, you know, yeah, I hate when there are slow drivers that when see a fast car approaching, they go like crazy because they want to race you. I don't know.
I'm glad it happens to everybody.
Yeah, and in digital it's even worse, right? You cannot say, oh, you do the B race and do. So I try to tell people, I mean, just stay in the track. But I mean, I think it's really the fact that you are racing and you see another car approaching and you see red, right? You go red mist. I have to go for it. So it's kind of, yeah. I need to put like
I'll play around with race coordinator. I know it's got some options for that kind of stuff. So I never wanted to use it because I thought it would slow us down. Maybe we just have to have less classes and to keep everybody happy.
That's not always limited to just to the newcomers that are coming off all the time. I have guys that I race with that when I'm in a faster lane or I happen to be faster in that particular race, they'll give me plenty of room and let me go by. And I've got other people that will fight me fight me every inch, and they're 15 laps down. And to me, that's just race courtesy. And it doesn't get through to some people. Well, just to name names, Ryan Newman in NASCAR is known for not letting anybody by at any time for any reason. And some other guys, 10 laps into the race, you're faster, go ahead and go. We'll race at the end. So
I will fight you if it means I'm going to get lapped, but once I'm lapped, I know I give up.
Oh,
like
absolutely. There's no problem racing.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. If I'm on a slower lane and the guy is beating me, and even I'm going to race him for the win at the overall, to me it doesn't do me any good to try to block him and potentially take us both out. When at that point in the race he's faster.
I'd like to know how the heck he can give someone 2 corners and then take them out knowingly and not suffer himself.
Well, to each his own. And on that note, we're going to end the live stream and get more casual. Everybody wave bye because I'm hitting the end button. Bye. Live stream over.
Good one.